So the other day I walked into this restaurant just craving something simple, just fries, that's it. Not a life-changing meal, not a spiritual awakening, just fries. But apparently, that's too basic now. You can't just say fries anymore. You gotta say cut truffle, Parmesan potato sticks with Himalayan salt. Like, why are the potatoes fancier than me? So I sit down, the waiter's got this energy like he's about to interview me for a scholarship. He asks, would you like to start with an appetizer? I'm like, man, I am the appetizer. All I wanted was fries. Somehow I left that place questioning my life choices. But you know what? That's how life works. You walk in expecting something simple, and it gives you a whole lesson instead. You just wanted comfort, and life says, no, you're gonna grow today. Sometimes the things that frustrate you the most are actually trying to teach you something. We think lessons come wrapped in success and comfort, but most of the time, they show up in the form of confusion, delay, or a wrong order. You don't always get what you asked for, but you'll always get what you need to learn. The fries might not come the way you expected, but maybe that's life reminding you. Patience, humility, gratitude, and humor are still on the menu. Because truthfully, the funniest thing about growing is that it usually happens when you're just trying to have a normal day. One small moment can flip into a big realization if you're paying attention. And that's what this talk is about, how the little things you ignore or laugh at can hold the biggest lessons you'll ever learn. Every small moment carries a message, but most people miss it because they're waiting for something big to happen before they start paying attention. Growth doesn't always arrive with fireworks or dramatic change. Sometimes it sneaks in through ordinary situations. A short conversation, a small mistake, a random delay that forces you to slow down. The truth is, life is constantly teaching, but it speaks in quiet details. The moments that seem unimportant are often the ones shaping your patience, your attitude, or your perspective. When you start noticing the lessons in everyday life, you stop rushing through it. You realize that wisdom doesn't just live in books or speeches. It lives in how you respond to small things, a word, a gesture, a challenge that doesn't go your way. Every small moment gives you a chance to practice awareness, kindness, or resilience. The more you pay attention, the more life starts to make sense. Small moments test your character long before big opportunities do. They prepare you to handle more because you learn to appreciate less. Every second you experience holds a message, and the ones you overlook are often the ones that would have changed you the most. Simplicity has a quiet way of showing what truly matters. When you strip away the noise, the pressure, and the constant need to impress, what's left is clarity. The deepest truths in life don't come wrapped in complicated ideas or fancy words. They come through the simple things we often take for granted: a smile, a moment of stillness, a genuine conversation. Simplicity doesn't mean less meaning, it means more focus. It helps you see what's real instead of what's loud. When you simplify your thoughts, your choices, and your goals, you start to notice how much peace exists in what's already around you. The more complex we make life, the more we drift away from its real essence. Simplicity reveals truth because it removes distraction. It shows you that happiness isn't in having everything, but in appreciating what you already have. The most powerful lessons are often the simplest ones. Be kind, be patient, stay grateful, keep learning. Complexity makes life heavier, but simplicity keeps your spirit light and your purpose clear. When you begin to value simplicity, you discover that deep truth was never hidden. It was just buried under everything you didn't need. Gratitude has the power to shift the way you see everything. When frustration takes over, it's usually because your focus is on what's missing, what's unfair, or what didn't go as planned. But gratitude changes the angle. It helps you see what's still working, what's still good, and what's still possible. It doesn't erase problems, but it gives them context. Gratitude reminds you that even in chaos, there are blessings that remain steady. When you practice it, small inconveniences lose their grip, and challenges begin to look like chances to grow. Frustration narrows your vision, but gratitude widens it. It helps you step back and notice the progress you've made, the people who support you, and the strength you've built through struggle. The moment you start saying, thank you, even for the smallest things, you take control of your emotions instead of letting them control you. Gratitude doesn't change what happened. It changes how you carry it. It turns complaints into awareness and setbacks into perspective. Every time you choose gratitude over frustration, you choose peace over chaos, understanding over anger, and growth over defeat. Patience isn't built when everything goes according to plan. It grows in the moments when your expectations fall short. When life doesn't deliver what you hoped for, it tests how much control you really have over your emotions. Those moments of delay, disappointment, or redirection are where patience is planted. It's easy to stay calm when everything flows smoothly, but true patience shows up when nothing does. Each unmet expectation gives you a chance to pause instead of panic, to breathe instead of break. It teaches you that waiting isn't wasted time. It's refining time. Patience shapes your mindset, reminding you that progress isn't always visible, and that timing has its own wisdom. When you stop fighting the delay and start learning from it, you begin to see how patience protects your peace. It makes you more grounded, more understanding, and more focused on growth instead of frustration. Every time something doesn't go as planned, you're being given an opportunity to build emotional strength and self-control. The space between what you expected and what actually happens is where maturity grows and where real faith begins. Humor is the quiet strength that helps you survive life's unpredictable moments. When things don't go your way, laughter gives you a breathe again. It doesn't deny the problem. It just softens its edges. Life throws surprises that you can't always prepare for, and sometimes the only thing you can control is how you react. Humor turns fear into acceptance, tension into relief, and failure into a story worth telling. It reminds you that not everything has to be taken so seriously to be meaningful. A good laugh resets your perspective, showing that even in chaos, there's still lightness to be found. It helps you connect with others through shared humanity, because everyone knows what it feels like to stumble, fall, or get lost. Humor transforms pain into perspective, making even the hardest moments easier to carry. It doesn't fix everything, but it gives you the strength to keep going without letting bitterness take over. When you find a way to smile through what surprises you, you don't just survive, you learn to enjoy the journey. No matter how unpredictable it becomes, growth often hides in the quiet spaces of everyday life, waiting to be noticed. It doesn't always come from big moments or life-changing events. It shows up in the simple routines, the small decisions, and the unnoticed challenges that fill your days. You grow when you choose patience instead of frustration, kindness instead of reaction, effort instead of excuses. Ordinary experiences test who you are when no one is watching, shaping your habits, your mindset, and your resilience. It's easy to overlook how much progress you're making when it happens slowly, but every small step counts. Growth isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a subtle shift in how you think or respond. The daily repetition of showing up, learning, and adjusting is what transforms you over time. Each moment, no matter how common, carries the potential to make you wiser or stronger if you pay attention to it. The way you handle routine situations, your work, your relationships, your quiet thoughts becomes the foundation of who you are becoming. Growth doesn't wait for perfect timing or grand opportunities. It builds itself quietly in the background of your everyday experiences, teaching you that the ordinary is never as simple as it seems. Learning rarely arrives looking like a gift. It usually comes wrapped in inconvenience. The moments that interrupt your plans or frustrate your routine are often the ones shaping your understanding the most. When things go wrong or take longer than expected, life is teaching patience, flexibility, and perspective. Inconvenience forces you to slow down, to think differently, to find another way when the first one fails. It makes you uncomfortable enough to grow. Every delay, mistake, or unexpected change carries a hidden lesson if you're willing to look for it. The truth is, comfort rarely teaches anything new, but discomfort always does. What feels like a setback in the moment often becomes the experience that prepares you for something greater later. The situations you label as annoying or unfair are sometimes the very experiences that sharpen your character and strengthen your focus. Learning disguised as inconvenience tests your ability to stay calm and open-minded when things don't go as planned. The more you start seeing challenges as teachers instead of obstacles, the more control you gain over your emotions and your growth. Life's lessons are rarely convenient, but they are always necessary. Perspective is the lens that shapes every experience you have. Two people can face the same situation, yet walk away with completely different lessons, simply because of how they chose to see it. When your perspective shifts, your reality changes with it. A challenge can become an opportunity, a delay can become preparation, and a failure can become a foundation for strength. Perspective gives meaning to what happens, turning confusion into clarity and pain into purpose. It teaches you that circumstances don't define you, your response does. When you focus on what you can learn instead of what you've lost, you begin to move forward with peace instead of frustration. Perspective doesn't erase struggle, but it gives you power over how that struggle affects you. It reminds you that growth is often hidden behind discomfort, and gratitude can exist even in disappointment. The more you learn to adjust your view, the more you realize how much control you actually have over your own mindset. Perspective transforms ordinary moments into lessons and problems into pathways. It changes not just how you see life, but how you live it, because everything begins with how you choose to see it. Peace doesn't come from trying to make everything perfect. It comes from learning to accept that it never will be. Life is filled with flaws, mistakes, and unfinished stories, and the sooner you embrace that truth, the lighter your heart becomes. Perfection is an illusion that keeps you chasing approval instead of contentment. When you let go of the need to control every outcome or fix every flaw, you begin to breathe easier. Embracing imperfection doesn't mean lowering your standards. It means understanding that beauty exists even in brokenness. The cracks in your plans, the detours in your journey, and the flaws in your character are what make you real. Peace grows when you stop fighting what is and start trusting that even the imperfect moments have meaning. Every mistake becomes a teacher, every failure a reminder that growth is still happening. When you accept yourself and others as works in progress, you release the pressure to pretend. True peace isn't found in a flawless life, but in a forgiving heart. The freedom to be imperfect is what allows you to finally rest, knowing that even your rough edges have purpose. Sometimes the fries you didn't get are the wisdom you needed, because not every disappointment is meant to hurt you. Some are meant to teach you. Life has a way of using small frustrations to reveal big truths. You might think you're missing out on something simple, but in that moment of waiting or wanting, you're learning patience, gratitude, and perspective. The fries could represent anything: a dream, an opportunity, or a plan that didn't turn out the way you imagined. When you don't get what you expected, you're given a chance to grow in understanding instead. You learn that fulfillment doesn't always come from what you receive, but from how you respond. The disappointments that seem trivial are often practiced for the bigger moments of life. They remind you that what's meant for you won't pass you by, and what doesn't arrive may be saving you from something unseen. The wisdom hidden in loss is that you don't always need what you want, but you always gain something when you choose gratitude instead of frustration. The fries you didn't get might just be the lesson that helps you appreciate the meal life is still preparing for you. You know, it's funny how life sneaks lessons into the smallest moments. You walk in just wanting fries, simple, easy, no philosophy attached, and somehow you walk out with a whole new perspective. That's the thing about life. It doesn't always sit you down and say, here's the lesson. Sometimes it just forgets your order and waits to see what you'll do about it. Maybe the fries weren't the point. Maybe it was patience, humility, or realizing that not everything needs to go your way for you to be okay. We spend so much time chasing the big answers when most of them are hiding in the ordinary stuff, like a missing side of fries. So the next time life doesn't give you what you ordered, don't get angry, just laugh a little. Because chances are that's not failure, it's training. And who knows, maybe the wisdom you walked away with will fill you up more than the fries ever could.